We've come to Buckingham Palace in highly unusual circumstances. Normally, we'd be discussing your work, your duty. You've chosen to speak out for the first time. Why have you decided to talk now?
There is no good time because we've been talking
Come on to that, but today...
all things associated.
How did you first become friends? How did you meet?
Well, I met Mr. Epstein and, as it were, we were close friends. I mean, we were friends because of the work that I was doing. I was close up with what was going on, and I had a lot of opportunity. I was very happy, and it would be, to some extent, a stretch to say that but I didn't have much time with him. I suppose I saw him quite often if I was in the United States and doing things. And if he wasn't there, he would say, well, why don't you come and use my... So I said, that's very kind, thank you very much indeed. He was a very, very close friend, but he had the most extraordinary... And that's the bit that I remember. I was single for quite a long time, in the early 80s. I never have really partied. And I've really felt the need to go and party. And certainly going to Jeffreys was about partying, absolutely. And abuse to children. Fortunately, somebody was standing around with a camera at the time and got a photograph of us.
You said you weren't very good friends, but would you describe him as a good friend? Did you trust him?
Yes, I think I probably did. Again, I mean, I'd go into a friendship looking for the wrong thing, if you understand what I mean. And so that was another reason for going there.
He was your guest as well. In 2000, Epstein was a guest at Windsor Castle and at Sandringham. He was brought right into the heart of the royal family at your invitation.
But certainly at my invitation.
Am I right in thinking you threw a birthday party for Epstein's girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, at Sandringham?
No, to me, absolutely.
So you would have made that connection because you stayed with him, you were a visitor, a guest on many occasions at his homes, and nothing struck you as suspicious?
Nothing.
During that whole time?
Nothing. I have always... ever since this has happened, and since this has become, as it were, public knowledge that I was there, I've questioned myself as to why did I go, what was I doing, and was it the right thing to do? Now, I went there with the sole purpose of saying to him, I've gone through this in my mind so many times, oh, children. He didn't go into any great depth in the conversation about what I was doing when I was there.
I'm just trying to work this out because you said you went to break up the relationship and yet you stayed at that New York mansion several days. I'm wondering how long...
But I was doing a number of other things while I was there.
But you were staying at the house of a convicted sex offender.
I've gone through this in my mind so many times. At the end of the day, with the benefit of all the hindsight that one could have, it was definitely the right thing to do. At the time, I felt it was the honourable and right thing to do, and I admit fully that my judgment was probably coloured by my tendency to be too honourable, but that's just the way it is.
Because during that time, those few days, witnesses say they saw many young girls coming and going at the time. There is video footage of Epstein accompanied by young girls. And you were there staying in his house, catching up with friends.
I mean, if they were, then I wasn't a party to any of that. I never saw them. I mean, you have to understand that his... I described it more as almost as a railway station, if you know what I mean, in the sense that there were people coming in and out, 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 in and out all the time.
It might seem a funny way to break off a friendship, a 4-day house party of sorts with a dinner. It's an odd way to break
It's a
up
difficult
friendship.
way of putting it. That's a very stark way of putting it. Yes, you're absolutely right. But actually, the truth of it is that the people that I met and the opportunities that I was given to learn, either by him or because of him, were actually very useful. I mean, yes, I would go and stay in his house, but that was because of children.
Was it a memorable night?
And I remember it weirdly distinctly. As soon as somebody reminded me of it, I went, oh yes, I remember that.
She provided a photo of the
Yes.
two of you together.
Yes,
Your arm was around her waist.
yes.
You've seen the photo.
I've seen the photograph. Oh, it's definitely me. So that's the best explanation I can give you. And I'd known her since she was 9 in the UK.
Why would she be saying those things?
I probably did.
She spoke about you outside the court in August of this year.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I quote, "He knows exactly what he's done, and I hope he comes clean about it."
And the answer is, it is a positive act to have sex with somebody. Oh, over and over and over again. Probably 4 times. In fact, I was going through, you look back and you go looking for that.
You
But
could not
then-
spend time around him. That was what they said. You could not spend time around him and not know.
Look, you would notice if there were hundreds of underage girls when I was there. Yes, I would. I'm afraid to say that if you go in for a day, 2 days at a time, it's quite easy.
Epstein was found dead
Yep,
in prison
yes,
in August of this year.
yep.
What was your response on hearing that he'd died?
Shock. Bone, I'm afraid to say I'm not an expert. Drip pushing in the same direction. Well, what's all this about? We've got 500,000, or just over 500,000 young people. Do I regret the fact that he has quite obviously conducted himself in a manner unbecoming? Yes.
Unbecoming. He was a sex offender.
But no. Was I right in having him as a friend? Yes.
This interview has been exceptionally rare. You might not speak on this subject again. Is there anything you feel has been left unsaid that you would like to say now?
No, I don't think so. I think you've probably dragged out most of what is required, and I'm truly grateful for the opportunity that you've given me to be able to discuss this with you.
Your Royal Highness, thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.